There's something about this cinematography that really stands out to me. I can't exactly put a finger on it, but I think it's a mix of the compositions used, the bold colours, the perspective, and the use of the camera to tell the story.
Just lie down.
Yeah. And then, yeah.
First Reformed has to be one of my favourite films of all time, and I know I say that a lot, but it's true. The story intrigues you from the first minute, the performances are incredible, and the cinematography is stunning. Before I start, I just wanted to touch on the fact that the cinematography isn't just what created the feeling of sympathy. The majority of it is down to Ethan Hawke's awe-inspiring performance, but I'm sure you already knew that. In today's video, I'll be looking at how Alexander Dinan created sympathy in the cinematography, how he designed the look for First Reformed, as well as what equipment he used on set. As always, let's start by looking at the equipment. Dinan opted to use the Arri Alexa SXT paired with Arri's Master Primes, however he restricted himself to just 3 focal lengths. The SXT is simply a good camera. We have the exceptional image and colour science that Arri is famous for, an extremely reliable and rugged body, as well as it being very budget friendly for a cinema camera. Now, taking a look at the lenses however, Arri's Master Primes are some of the most visually pristine lenses out there. They create visually zero distortion at any focal length, allow for shooting at an ultra high resolution, have virtually no breathing, as well as the ability to stop down to T1.3. It seems as though Dinan went for the cleanest look he could equipment wise. Every shot is crystal clear with zero distortion, allowing for the audience to not be distracted by anything. To look at how Alexander Dinan created sympathy in the cinematography, I wanted to start by looking at how he utilised composition. Throughout the film, Ethan Hawke feels either stuck within the frame or insignificant. The use of 4x3 obviously helps to make him feel claustrophobic, but just the way he's been placed in the frame makes us feel a bit off. There's a lot of centre framing throughout as well, which seems quite common amongst films shot in 4x3, but it's also a way for us to focus on him. Sure, it's a simple way, but sometimes that's just what we need. On occasion, Toller is very small in the frame. This isn't consistent throughout, and it's because we only ever are leaving him alone when he needs space, which leads me to Toller is very isolated throughout the film, not only figuratively but literally. We often see him alone, isolated from the outside world, but even when he's not by himself, he still feels separated enough from the other characters. Whether that's done through compositions, depth, or even a literal barrier between 2 characters. We are even separated from him on occasion. It makes us feel left out and more sympathetic towards him. I mentioned the use of centre framing earlier, but that and one-shots go hand in hand. For me, one-shots are the best use of centre framing. Sure, it can look really satisfying when we have 2 or more people, but there's something about just having a lone character in a frame that makes me feel sympathetic towards them. But then again, once the camera is in place, it's all down to the actor to create that feeling. When watching the film, I realised that in a lot of scenes, there is only one source of light. A lone window, an exposed light bulb, a candle. They not only make for an interesting lighting choice that create depth and contrast in the image, but they also create a sense of isolation. Only one light and only one Toller. Creating sympathy isn't just done through the cinematography though, and whilst it's pretty obvious where I'm going with this, it's down to the actors to create that feeling and make it believable.
I think this is an issue where the church can lead, but they say nothing. The US Congress still denies climate change.
The first thing that stands out about this film is that it's shot in 4x3. And whilst this isn't exactly a new revelation in filmmaking, it's certainly unique, even with its recent popularity. And Karsten Rundquist has a great video surrounding why it looks so good. But to dive into its use in First Reformed a bit more, we need to look at why they chose it. There are several articles that look at it as though it mimics the smallness of the protagonists' lives, as well as making the audience feel claustrophobic, which are great points, but I also think that the way in which Dinan shot it, where we see a lot of centre framing and use of camera height, simply make it look better. This wouldn't have been the same film in something like 2.35:1 or even 1.85:1. It helps him tell more of the story through the cinematography, as it feels as though we're intruding on the characters' lives. Now, to take a look at the lighting, in an ASC interview, Alexander Dinan displayed how he used lighting by putting stills from the film into black and white. It reveals how he created contrast not through colour, but through the use of soft and hard lighting sources. To me though, there are some scenes where colour feels almost necessary, one of which takes place in a forest, but I don't think I can show that clip on YouTube. Whilst talking about the colour, Dinan said, "In the end, it is a colour film, but it's a colour so desaturated and so drained. I tried to keep it as close as I could to the original intentionality of black and white." Now, this film would have looked incredible in black and white, however, if it wasn't shot in colour, we wouldn't have gotten shots like this. Ultimately, Dinan used a range of different techniques in order to create sympathy for Toller through the cinematography. He made him feel insignificant through the compositions and lighting choices. He created a feeling of isolation through the use of lighting, and created depth in the image not through colour and physical depth, but through soft and harsh lighting choices, which pretty much confirms that cinematography is all about lighting. Apologies that this video is a couple of days late. My throat only started feeling better on Wednesday and I wanted to edit this video properly. I hope you enjoyed this video looking at how Alexander Dinan created sympathy through the cinematography of First Reformed. If you have a film or TV show that you would like to see me analyse, then leave a comment down below. If you found it informative, a like is appreciated, and if you'd like to see more videos like this, then hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.